I'd say old school, but with a new edge.
Hmm.
That's how I describe it. And I think because I've done sort of the working men's clubs and the holiday camps and everything from sort of the Comedy Store to pantomime, you kind of learn to sort of cope with every audience really. And so it's great training and it stands you in good stead. When you're in any environment.
What I hate about current comedians is they don't do jokes. Now, could you explain to me where the jokes have gone in comedy?
Well, I think it's more about character stuff now, and I mean, in my show, I don't necessarily do sort of kind of obvious jokes. It is more character based because I've got three different characters in my show, and the comedy comes from the situation, so it's almost a bit sitcom with me, and I think with today's stand-up comedians, and there are some fantastic people around. It's just a sort of slightly different twist on, things had to change a bit, and I think it's their own personality, and therefore the humour comes from the situations that they're talking about or the observations that they're.
I saw you in Panto, and it was a chance for you to have your own little play with the audience, which of course is brilliant, and you
Yeah.
do that so well.
Thank you.
Bloody hard work, though, isn't it? Turning up twice a day, 6 days a week.
It is, but you kind of just get into it really, and it's like a sort of a conveyor belt in a way. It just starts, that's it, it's up and running, and it's just like a train really, and you can't miss it. You're always on it, and it's just fantastic because I get to do all of my normal stuff that I do in my show, but I get to put that in, sort of crowbar it into the plot, and I also get to pretend to be an actor for a couple of months at Christmas. So I love it.
And does it pay for the rest of the year? Because I'm told it's quite a good payday.
It doesn't pay for the rest of the year. It helps pay my tax bill. Panto's definitely a good earner, and I've done it for a long time. So I think this year I'll be I'm in Wolverhampton at the Grand, and it'll be my 16th year in Panto. So it's something that I love doing.
Who are you doing it with?
I'm with Pantomime himself, Biggins. It doesn't get any bigger than that.
We had Biggins on the programme recently. I think he's in the same category you are. You're never flawed, are you? You've both always got something to say. You're never going to lose at Panto.
Well, I hope so, yeah. I mean, he's an old mate anyway, and, he is the personification of pantomime, really, isn't he?
Yes, and looks fabulous in a frock as well. Let's not forget that. Do you know where I think you ought to go? And I mean this, it's not that we want to get rid of you.
Where have I got to go now?
I think you were born to do Vegas, and I tell you why. I've got to know a guy called Terry Fator very recently, who is probably America's greatest ventriloquist, up there with the best, as you are, and he's selling out every single night. And I tell you why, it's because they love an act over there, and they love a turn, and he's on 100 million over 10 years to do it. Not bad, is it?
No, it's quite good. I saw Terry's show actually last year. I have actually done Vegas a few times, and I've guested on some different variety shows, and I love Vegas, but it's not somewhere I could be for a long time.
No?
I think that was semi-nuts. It's
Don't you like a buffet?
It's good for, yes, once. It's good. Vegas is good for a week. And I absolutely love all those Cirque du Soleil shows and all the, they are the biggest, the best shows in the world, right? So it's definitely worth going, but it's nice to, leave and come home.
Do you get nervous still doing it? Because there are things that could go wrong because you play with the audience, don't you?
Yeah, there's always a chance of something going wrong, but I think that's what kind of gives you that edge really, and keeps you kind of keeps you on your toes. And I think that's a good thing.
You've got to thank Jonathan Ross for your career in one way in terms of TV. I mean, you were working way before him, but he gave you the big break on the Big Talent Show, didn't he?
Yeah, that was in 1996, I think it was, and I won that show, and that was kind of like the first of the new wave of TV talent shows, and I mean, compared to sort of Britain's Got Talent now and X Factor, I mean, the votes were sort of nothing compared to the millions that the people that phone in now. But that was very helpful, and the control of entertainment at ITV at the time was a man called Nigel Lithgow, Nasty Nigel from Pop Stars, and now has gone to America and American Idol and all these shows, and he was in charge. So basically, they had a winner and they had to do something with me really, so they put me on all these other sort of shows before variety kind of disappeared really, and then reality television came in. So I went back out and started working the clubs again and the comedy circuit, and sort of changing my act and making it more modern really, and now I'm back.
Well, I was going to say, to think that Jonathan Ross ended his career and you've still got yours, isn't it? Maybe you should be appearing on your talent show.
Well, who knows, one day.
You've done so many amazing things and performed to so many famous people as well. Do you get a kick out of that? Because it's always nice when you can play with a celebrity, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Well, I did one of those shows I was talking about actually for ITV. I did Shirley Bassey's 60th birthday special, and that was a few months after I'd won the big talent show, and I'd done it. I'd been gigging for a long time. But doing a show like that is like one of those audience widths. You look at the audience and there's literally just sort of famous faces everywhere, and then they have the normal audience behind the famous audience, and you want to get to the audience, the proper audience, not the famous people, because they all sit there, with all their arms folded, kind of like, yeah, we've seen this, yeah, come on, make us laugh then. And I was doing a song. I had Sam, one of my characters, sing a song, one of Shirley Bassey's songs, to her. And so I rehearsed it all week, and I was absolutely, I knew this song inside out, upside down. I could do it in my sleep. And it got to the night, and Jimmy Tarbuck was the compere. And I did some jokes, and Nigel said, just do a minute and a half of material and then get into the song. And I'd rehearsed it with the keyboard player, and it was all fantastic. I did some jokes, and the jokes really died. I did some jokes about Tarby, and Sam was having a go at Tarby and just sort of calling him ugly, which was a bit of a catchphrase. Anyway, it didn't work at all, and I was thinking, oh God, right, get into the song. Anyway, I started the first two lines of the song, and it went something like, I will love you as I love you all my life. And then my brain just went blank. And that's the first and only time I've ever just completely and utterly dried.
Oh.
And luckily it wasn't a live show, so we did it again, and it was all fine on the night. But it was just really off-putting looking around. It was like Jeffrey Archer looking at me from one place, Gloria Hunniford, on my left, and there's just all these faces. And I knew some of these people, but it was very daunting. But I think I've got over that now.
Is it nice to be admired and respected by showbiz people? I know the Des O'Connors and people like that have banged your drum big time, because there aren't many of you left, really, aren't there? There aren't that many people who can stand in front of an audience and just entertain.
No, I think it's great. I mean, Des was brilliant with Des and Mel. I did that quite a few times, and it was a great platform for up and coming comedians, really, and also people that we still know and love. So there aren't the shows now, and so when you've got someone like Des who's very passionate about comedy and new acts and is very supportive, that's a really big help. And so you kind of need more of that, really. Although I think things are changing. I've just did a show called Comedy Rocks, which was like a modern day variety show earlier this year, which Jason Manford hosted, and I think that's going to be a series next year for ITV. So I think things are changing now, and there will be more opportunities for.
Is there any programme right now that Jason Manford isn't presenting?
No, I don't think so. No. I think he might be Flavour of the Month. What do you think? But I've got to say, I think he's brilliant. He's just. I mean, I've worked with him on the circuit for years, and he's just very. He sort of appeals to everybody, really. You can't. I don't know anyone that doesn't like him.
No, absolutely. I want to talk to you about life on the road, because it makes me a bit sad thinking about you. Are you following Lenny and Henry around all these premier lodges, staying them night after night after night?
Well, do you know what? This sounds really kind of boring now, but I actually, at the moment, I've just started the first week of the tour, and I've been able to get home every night. I mean, I get home late, but I get home, and then I can go to the gym in the morning, and then I get in the car at lunchtime, and then I go off to the next gig. It's only when I'm doing this week, I think I'm in Bath, and then I go to Wales and places like that. I'll stay over, but most of the time I try and get back.
And do you find yourself talking to yourself quite a lot?
Now let's just put this to rest immediately. When I finish the show, I do not talk to the puppets. All right, I know there's other people out there that do talk to their chickens or ducks or whatever it is they are, right?
Emus.
But
yes.
But none of that goes on with me. And I just got to tell you, I was doing a gig a while back at Jongleurs, the comedy club, and I was doing the show, and Sam, my cheeky kid character, was having a go at someone, calling him ugly, and I could see the guy's body language all changing in the front row, and I was thinking, right, leave this guy alone now. It looks like he's going to get cross. So anyway, I went on and did some different material. As I was leaving the show, I was walking out with another comedian friend of mine, and he walked ahead, and I just had this feeling this guy was going to be waiting for me, and he was waiting for me by the door, and he stopped me going through, and as I walked through the doorway, he sort of got in the way, and he went, "Oi," and I went, "Yeah," and he went, "You better tell your little mate to watch his mouth." and I went, yeah, right, okay. And he went, "No, seriously."
That's not a true story, is it, Paul? You've made that.
That is a true story, I promise you.
Can I ask you a very personal question to end with?
Well, you can try.
Well, I don't really know how to. Can you get ladies being Paul Zerdin with a puppet?
Well, do you know you can?
Why are you laughing?
In my show, I have 3 characters. I've got Sam, Albert, and the baby, and there's a lot of interaction with the audience with all the characters. Sam's always finds someone in the front row he doesn't like, and a woman that he fancies. The old man still chases women but can't remember what to do when he catches them, and is eyeing up a woman in the front row. And the baby wants to be breastfed by a woman in the front row. So there's a lot of women involved in the show, and quite often. Occasionally, now and again, sometimes they might be waiting backstage, the stage door for a little
to get an autograph. Yeah.
So it can work in your favour.
Let me give you a round of applause. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. If you could swap seats, because I want to talk to Sam in our final remaining moment.
Oh, Alex, I've got a terrible hangover. I can't really speak for long. I went to a big puppet party last night. Oh, you should have seen them. All these puppets all over the place. Sooty and Sweet were there, legless. Teletubbies all over the place. Lala was gaga, Dipsy was tipsy, Poet Defoe and Tinky Winky was absolutely toast. I'm in a terrible state. What would you like to know?
Sam, I understand you were on tour with Joe Pasquale recently. How was that?
Well, it was very confusing because we both sound the same.
I was just wondering.
Yes, he's a good boy, Joe.
He's a nice man, isn't he?
He's not really a man, he's a kid. He's not grown up yet.
Bless him. He's doing all kinds of things like flying planes and getting fit doing boxing now. I think he is trying to grow up. Do you worry that you're going to one day go through puberty and this voice will be no more?
Well, you'll have to ask Mr. Zerdin about that, but at the moment, I'm sounding a bit croaky because he was out on the lash last night.
Oh, my God.
But apart from that, no,
he wasn't getting autographs from people who were waiting backstage, was he?
Yeah, actually, Albert wants to say a word. Albert's here. Albert, are you here?
Yes.
Well, speak to Alex.
Who?
Alex Belfield. We're on Radio Leeds now.
Oh, well, hello?
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 How are you?
Hello?
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 No, this isn't working. Sam?
What?
Hello?
Who is this? Is something wrong with my hearing aid? I'm hearing voices.
Have you got both of them on? You should be in stereo.
Albert, it's Alex.
Alex who?
Alex Belfield.
What? Well, I was in the war, you know.
Were you?
What?
Hello?
Yes?
We must dash because there's things to do. But will you thank Paul for me, Sam?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I was gone then, yes.
Hello, pay attention.
Yes, and I'll leave you with some words of advice.
Yes, go ahead.
With great wisdom comes the strong smell of urine.